My blissful gorgeous selves, now, with new enthusiasm, joy and bubbling energy, Pandava's army assembled in the battlefield. It was the morning of the ninth or 10th day, winter time, but pleasant. Dashtadamna phalanxed all warriors in the shape of a bird called Cronch. Bheeshma organized all Kauravas in Sarvato Bhadra phalanx shape. All morning, all noon, all afternoon until 3 p.m. The Pandavas' army won victories after victories. It was then that Bheeshma became extremely furious and assumed his horrifying gesture. He destroyed about 24,000 warriors of the Pandavas' army and smashed it from all over. Like a wind, like a storm, like lightning, then came speeding like an arrow of gold Arjuna's chariot. Krishna was driving fast, almost flying, and it dashed in the front of Bheeshma. A fearful fight ensued, intense and more intense, but still Arjun, the owner of the Gandiva bow, is not finishing Bheeshma. He stopped destruction of his army. He stopped Bheeshma's attention to do extra destruction. He broke his bows, but that was nothing. Bheeshma has hundreds of them. Time prolonged. Krishna became restless. Soon, keeping Arjun busy, Bheeshma again started destroying his army. Krishna looked at Arjun twice, saying, "Arjun, what are you doing?" But Arjun could not compose the satisfactory heat of fight. Krishna could not bear it. He is getting angry, and you already know this is anger, my dear. You know it. He broke the age-old ancient curd pots of his mom when he was just 2 years old. Suddenly he leaped off onto the ground, picked up the wheel of a broken chariot lying nearby, and like a lion, red-eyed, hair scattered and flowing in the wind, carrying the wheel like a chakra, like a discus on his finger, he raced towards Bheeshma. His peacock feather waving in the air, yellow silk flying, roaring, resounding all around. With each of his steps, the earth seemed to shake and groan under the great burden of wrath. Duryodhana and Drona and all the warriors saw from a distance and shouted aloud, "Oh God, Bheeshma is dead. He is really dead." All began trembling with fear, seeing that angry form of Krishna rushing towards the chariot of Bheeshma. Never had they seen him so fearful in all their lives. "Welcome, welcome, my lord, welcome, welcome." Bheeshma, the 300 years old, aged young man, like a child, began clapping his hands in his welcome. "Come, my dear, and liberate me. Unless I put you, your devotee, in the trouble, you cannot be aroused enough to give me liberation. Now I got what I wanted. Come, give me enlightenment. Put what on my palm, put that enlightenment on my palm. If there is any enlightenment pill you may be hiding in your armpit or in your belt, hand that over to me, O great liberation donor. O Kevalnath, you have given that to so many, now it is my turn. And he composed a beautiful poem in his praise. But as soon as Krishna was going to leap on his chariot, there came Arjuna, racing like wind, and he clasped him from the waist and prayed, "Oh my friend, oh my Lord, I apologize, I am terribly sorry, don't do that. Let your vow remain firm. Here I promise, from now on the battle will be as fierce as you wish. My Lord, give me a chance, it will never happen again." Holding with his entire strength, Arjuna felt as if he is holding the fury of the ocean, a hurricane or some ferocious storm. But he too was very powerful, and he held him tightly, and even he was dragged by the speed of Krishna. But anyway, Arjuna worked, means he held him so hard that Krishna was brought back to the chariot. The fight continued. Krishna was still angry. He knew that while fighting with Bheeshma, Arjuna could not help thinking about those childhood days when he would run down and sit in the lap of this same Bheeshma and clasping his neck with both arms, hear his words of fun and wisdom. His grandpa, so he sent a special call for the commander-in-chief Dhristadyumna. But he was too busy on another front, so his elder brother Shikhandi came sitting on his shining red gold chariot with hundreds of bubbling, energized Punjabi warriors. Krishna was so protective and concerned of Arjuna and his emotion and respect for Bheeshma that he asked Prince Shikhandi to sit right with him in Arjuna's chariot, and thus a fearful fight began. Krishna instructed Shikhandi that as soon as Arjuna becomes exhausted, pick up the charge. Otherwise, now, he intimidated, tonight I will chastise both of you. No, that could not happen, my lord, Prince Shikhandi assured. I will fight till my death, you will see right now. White-haired, golden crown, and earring wearing the white silk adorned Bheeshma sitting on his bejeweled glowing chariot was looking like some celestial being, like some angel, like power incarnate. In fact, he was already an angel, a cursed angel. So he resembled at the 11th hour of his life. When Prince Shikhandi was shooting, Bheeshma wouldn't shoot back. He would only shoot on Arjuna and all around complementary armies. Shikhandi and Arjuna too have to fight with hundreds of warriors on both sides and back of Bheeshma. Warriors asked, "Sir, why don't you shoot Prince Shikhandi? He is too powerful and he is destroying all of us." Bheeshma said, "I cannot." "Why?" they asked. "It is a Kshatriya custom not to shoot anyone who is a woman or womanish, who has dropped his weapons, fell down, removed his armor, take down his flag, who is escaping, who is scared, who is surrendered, who is confused, or who has only one son. So I don't shoot on Shikhandi. But he is a prince of Punjab, he is a warrior, very powerful one, he does not fit any of the above criteria." Bhishma said, yes, that's right, but he was a princess of Varanasi in his past life. Those days when I was 20 years old, she wanted to marry me. I had vowed not for the welfare of my beloved father, King Shantanu. I had decided not to marry, but she insisted. After denial, she was so offended and furious that she went to the forest for meditation. She meditated on, and she died with the last thought of revenge, and now this is her. I know her. She is now a prince, but to me, he is the same revenge-seeking, formerly lovesick Princess Amba. Thus the fighting went on. Prince Shikhandi and Arjun shot hundreds and thousands of arrows on Bhishma. All over his chariot arrows were pierced. Even his flag was filled with 15 of them. His limbs were filled, both arms were covered with about 30 arrows each. On his front and back hundreds had pierced through his armor and blood was streaming. He became like a cactus tree. Every time Arjuna and Shikhandi needed more arrows, their special carriers would fulfill the quota. There was no end, but standing like an undaunted lion, Bhishma was still fighting. At last Shikhandi pulled his bowstring up to his ear and shot a very sharp, dangerous arrow that pierced Bhishma's chest. Roaring like thunder, he fell on the ground. When he fell, his body remained perched above the ground, balanced on the hundreds of arrows pierced through all of his limbs and torso. As soon as Bhishma fell, a tremendous chaos filled the earth and sky. Clouds raised across the sun, wind began to blow. There was grasp for breath, and earth seemed to stop in its rotation. Now the war music stopped from both sides. Flowers began to rain on the earth from the sky. Very important. From both armies came to the spot. Blood was flowing, but Bhishma was smiling. Pandavas, Drona, Kripacharya, Duryodhana, his brothers, all others assembled. Kauravas moved forward to take him down from the precarious arrow bed and back to their tents. But Bhishma shat like glance and expression forbade them, my dear friends. Bhishma's entire body was pierced by arrows and supported above the earth, but his head had hung back. It was against the custom to shoot a warrior on his head, so it had no support. Seeing this, Sri Krishna said, Grandpa, I think you need a pillow. Oh yes, my lord, Bhishma replied. Duryodhana's attendants brought so many silk and foam pillows, but Bhishma refused. But still, he insisted he wants a pillow. He looked at Arjun. Arjun took 3 arrows from his quiver and shot them in such a way that they went straight, then turned from below and carefully came up, holding Bhishma's head from beneath and lifting it up above. They stood on the earth. That's the matching pillow for my bed. Thanks, grandson. He was happy. After a few minutes, he said, I am thirsty, my boys. Kauravas brought delicious waters in golden jars and golden goblets. Bhishma refused. Here again, Arjun shot 1 arrow with his which broke the ground, and a fountain of water fresh, clean water sprung out even so gently and landed right in the mouth of Bheeshma. That water was none other than Ganga water. Ganga Devi knew that her son had fallen and here she arrived. She drank, now he drank and blessed them and asked them to go back and resume the unfinished business. That's battle. When all returned, it was already dusk in the end of the 10th day of the battle was fast approaching. They decided to resume the battle the next morning. Thus, they proceeded towards their 10th town. The fountain that oozed from the arrow of Arjuna is still there, and that area is known as Ganga. When we went to Kurukshetra, we visited that place. It is the same place where the integrated dialogue between King Yudhishthira and Bheeshma will take place, my dear friends. That has already taken place 5,000 years ago. You can read it in the book Mahabharata. Thank you very much. Oh.